just remember the excitement of the first day and also the relief of it as well.
I remember the day we actually cut the ribbon and everybody was outside waiting and they were lined up down the block to see this facility. Like, how exciting is that?
A few weeks after I started, Mayor Grimm came to the Cultural Centre to have coffee with some of the cultural groups, and he dropped by my office and he asked me the question, well, do you think there's a need for a theater in Medicine Hat as well? And I said, well, I'm not sure, but I'll look into it.
It's not just one thing. I can't even say it that way. It's not just a theater, it's not just a museum, it's not just an art gallery, it's not just archives, it's the whole cultural experience.
I volunteer here because my heart has been resting with the Esplanade ever since I was little.
There's so much interesting material here that you don't even know exists.
The museum really is the memory of a community.
It is us, it's our preservation.
With the archives and the museum, it's a center to gather and share stories of the community over time, and it's an ongoing process where that continues.
There's so many things that happen in a building like this.
We've got some very dedicated volunteers, and some of them have been with us since the beginning of the Esplanade.
As a performer myself, it's the best thing to be able to see all these different kind of talents and all these different styles.
You can play, make yarn dolls, make a craft, paint, or you can, my favorite is painting and playing. Well, I painted my cat, the flying cat. You can do lots of things here.
I remember when I was a second year university. My background is in archaeology. And just doing some pottery analysis, and I could turn over a piece of pottery in my hand and I could see the impression of a fingernail where somebody had pinched the edge of that pot and left that a little bit of a indent from the fingernail and a little bit of a fingerprint even from 1500 years ago.
I've been here for the 10 years that the archives have been open, and I was asked to do some of the research for the First World War exhibit.
And that was just such an overwhelming sense of connection to somebody that I'll never see. I can't even begin to understand what her life was like.
And in the process, I read many stories and letters of from the young men that went from Medicine Hat to fight in the First World War. And one name in particular really resonated with me. His name was Captain Frank Pott.
Here every day I'm surrounded by these physical manifestations of people's lives, and it's really just some days an overpowering sensation to realize that you're surrounded by so many ghosts, as it were.
I read about him when he was one of the first 26 to volunteer. He went to Valcartier to train, and he managed to keep all the boys from Medicine Hat together.
Where we've been and who we are and what we've overcome together as a people. So I really do think that a museum is vitally important to understanding the soul of a place like Medicine Hat.
And he ends his letter to his wife saying, I will be going back to the front, but I'll be going as a reserve, and so it'll be fine. And he did go back to the front. He was not a reserve. The reserve was called in to fight, and he died. And I felt really bad because I had gotten to know him, sort of. And I kept thinking what my wife would have been going through, because she probably got the letter just before he died or just after. And I thought it was very sad. So I was talking to Philip, our archivist here, and said, oh, Philip, Captain Pott died. And Philip said, Grace, it was 100 years ago.
The Esplanade, we've always said, is for everyone. And this was noticeable right from the very first days.
It is such a cultural icon in the community, and I think we're very fortunate that we had councils and people that had this kind of vision, because it doesn't always happen in communities, mid-sized communities.
My first performance here I went down in the change rooms and I was just like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then I went on stage, I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome.
And there in the gallery was this, it was kind of like a bed with sheets draped and hanging from the ceiling and these keys hanging under the sheet. And I went, well, kids, what do you think this is? Because I had no clue. So, a valuable lesson that I bring to the volunteers now in how to really engage others in interpreting art, and sometimes you just got to wing it.
It's imagination. It was a great day and it was fun.
Come to it, experience it. If you can, meet the people.
It's a facility that's all grown up, and we've grown up with it, and I think that is absolutely outstanding.
I absolutely love it here.